What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Wednesday, May 25th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA playoffs. Let's take a look at this NBA showdown between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. So first, let's take a look at the injury news. At the time of the recording this morning, we have a couple of players questionable. Marcus Smart from the Boston Celtics and Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat. So here are the plays. If Marcus Smart is out, then that's going to open up more playing time for Peyton Pritchard and Derek White. So last game when Marcus Smart was out, Derek White scored 39 fantasy points in 40 minutes, and Peyton Pritchard scored 26 fantasy points in 24 minutes. Now, Derek White is only $5,000 DraftKings salary, and Peyton Pritchard is $5,400 DraftKings salary. So if Marcus Smart is out, I think I prefer Derek White from the Boston Celtics here versus the Miami Heat. Now let's take a look at the other injury, Tyler Hero. He's also questionable. If he is out, that's going to open up some super value here on the slate with Duncan Robinson and Caleb Martin. Now Duncan Robinson is $3,000 DraftKings salary. He scored 25 fantasy points in 23 minutes when Tyler Hero was out last game. And then Caleb Martin is only $1,800 DraftKings salary. He scored 22 fantasy points in 24 minutes last game when Tyler Hero was out. So keep an eye on the injury news. Now you know who to play if Marcus Smart is out, and you know who to play if Tyler Hero is out. So let's move on to the picks here. We got the super studs on the slate. One of them is Jason Tatum from the Boston Celtics. He's averaging 47.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. He's projected at 47.8 fantasy points here tonight. He's $10,800 DraftKings salary. And of course, he's got that 50-plus fantasy point upside. And actually, I think Jason Tatum has some of the one of the biggest ceilings on the slate. I think if he puts in a good game, he could get 60-plus fantasy points. So I like Jason Tatum here versus the Miami Heat. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Now for $800 less at $10,000 DraftKings salary, you have Jalen Brown from the Boston Celtics. He's averaging 39.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 31% usage rate. He scored 24, 55, and 40 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 29, 41, and 33 minutes. So although he's averaging less fantasy points per game than is Jason Tatum, the last 3 games, he's pretty much almost exactly matched the fantasy point production of Jason Tatum. Now he's he's 800 cheaper at $10K, and he does have 50 plus fantasy point upside, although I would much prefer to play Jason Tatum for $800 more. But if you build your lineup and you only have 10,000 or 10,000, you have under 10,800 remaining, Jalen Brown would fill that spot pretty well. So I like Jalen Brown here versus the Miami Heat. Now let's take a look at the super stud on the slate from the Miami Heat. You got Jimmy Butler, and he's averaged 40.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 27% usage rate. Now he's 11,200 DraftKings salary. He scored 16, 19, and 42 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 19, and 32 minutes. So I think I prefer Jason Tatum here as one of my super studs in my lineup. If I want to go with a captain and pay a lot of money and pay up here, probably going to make like a Jason Tatum captain lineup. But Jimmy Butler certainly has that 50 plus fantasy point upside if he gets rolling. So I like Jimmy Butler. You can't rule him out here versus the Boston Celtics. Now, I also like Al Horford from the Boston Celtics. He's 7,800 DraftKings salary. He scored 34, 50, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 41, and 32 minutes. So he's projected at 33.2 fantasy points here tonight. But he's got that 40 to 50 point upside. He's been playing really well in the playoffs, playing a bunch of minutes, playing over his season average in minutes, like most of these players. But I like Al Horford here versus the Miami Heat. Okay, and don't forget Bam Adebayo. Now, he's 8,800 DraftKings salary. He's averaging 40.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He scored 18, 64, and 20 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 41, and 28 minutes. So he's projected at 40.3 fantasy points here tonight. He's 8,800 DraftKings salary. And I like this pick quite a bit. You know, he put up that big 64 fantasy point game. And I think he's going to have a bounce back game. He only put up 18 fantasy points last game. So he's been pretty inconsistent. And really, outside of that 64 fantasy point game, let's see, his last 5, he scored 18, 64, 20, 24, and 49 fantasy points in his last 5 versus the Celtics. But in his last 5, it was all those same ones, but the 5th game was only 25 fantasy points. So let's just see here. Bam Adebayo in his last 5 games, really 4 out of the 5, he probably would have burnt your lineup. But that one game where he put up 64 fantasy points, if you had him in your captain, he would have crushed it at low ownership, because I think a lot of people are kind of scared to play Bam Adebayo. His ownership is a little bit lower than it should be because of his poor performance. So I like Bam Adebayo. I think he's got that 50 plus fantasy point upside, and his ownership is just less than it should be. So I like Bam here tonight.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Let's see, who else do we have here? Robert Williams continues to be questionable, although he did score 27 fantasy points in 18 minutes last game. He's 6,400 DraftKings salary, so he could be an option here since he played last game. Maybe he comes in and plays 25 minutes and puts up 30 plus fantasy points. And then you got Kyle Lowry for 6,800 DraftKings salary. He played 21 minutes last game, scored 16 fantasy points. He's still questionable, but he should get plenty of minutes here. And then Max Struss, he scored 0 fantasy points in 14 minutes. That's no good. He's questionable, so probably stay away from Max Struss. I would play Kyle Lowry for just 200 more every single time. And then if Tyler Hero does play this game, I think he's a great pick at only 6,200 DraftKings salary. He averaged 34.6 fantasy points per game on the season, played an average of 33 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. So even if he only plays 25 minutes, he could put up 30 plus fantasy points. So if he does play, I like Tyler Hero versus the Boston Celtics. Now, another value play on the slate here. So Victor Oladipo is 5,600 DraftKings salary. And the last 3 games, he scored 39, 15, and 18 fantasy points, playing 30, 20, and 26 minutes. So I think he's a good play here at 5,600 DraftKings salary. Even if Tyler Hero does play this game, Victor Oladipo could play 25 minutes and put up 30 plus fantasy points. And there's not a lot of great value unless Tyler Hero does sit. Then that opens up the value that we talked about with Duncan Robinson and Caleb Martin. But either way, I like Victor Oladipo at 5,600 DraftKings salary. Now, the other value plays you got on the slate here, PJ Tucker, he's questionable. He scored 9, 36, and 11 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 21, 37, and 21 minutes. Then you got Gabe Vincent at 4,400 DraftKings salary. He scored 21, 9, and 23 fantasy points the last 3 games, playing 26, 19, and 24 minutes. So those guys are both high-risk plays. They could make or break your lineup. Just take a look at their point history. They get 9 fantasy points and crush your lineup, or they get 20 to 30 fantasy points and make your lineup. So that's just like a coin flip play. If you do need to go there, I probably would prefer PJ Tucker for only 200 more. I don't think you need to go to Gabe Vincent here tonight. Oh, and the other value play at only 5,200 DraftKings salary is Grant Williams from the Boston Celtics. He scored 16, 21, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 39, and 32 minutes. So he's playing a ton of minutes. His upside is limited, but at only 5,200 DraftKings salary, if he could put in a 20 plus fantasy point performance, I think you'd be doing pretty well. And he's got 25 plus fantasy point upside. I just like that he's playing a ton of minutes. So at only 5,200, I think he makes a pretty good player to fill your lineup.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.